Yo, what is up, boys? I had this quick idea about just kind of like the mindset and how you can kind of keep making progress and things like that. And I get a ton of questions about dunking and jumping and technique and all these different things. And I just wanted to share this because I feel like it helps you in every way when you want to dunk train or even in anything you're trying to work on. So it's kind of one of those podcasts where I just kind of share my mindset and things that I think will help you attain any of your goals that you're trying to get. And basically it's be your own best resource. That's the title of this one, but I'm going to get into break it down and just kind of explain what I mean by that. And there's a lot to it, so I'm just going to start rambling as usual. So basically, I get a lot of questions and videos and things about technique. I'm going to use dunking as the analogy, but it can really apply to anything. People always ask me, they tell me where they're at. I can touch this height. I can do this, but how do I improve? I've been doing this. I've been doing that. And the thing about jumping is that it's very unique to every person. I've said this a million times, and it really takes a lot for me to try to help you. I can give you all the basics. I can give you everything I know, but everything I know has come from my experience. In no way was I any type of jump expert, nonetheless a body expert at all. I didn't even know anything, and now I feel like I know a lot. I feel like I learned a lot about my body. I've been able to overcome injuries. I've been able to get my body more flexible than I've ever been. Do things that I was not even think was possible with my body because of just my genetics and things like that. But I still get a ton of questions, and I try to help everybody, but I wanted to also share this because I feel like it's really helpful to be self-analytical. I don't know. Anyway, everybody that you see that's making progress has been studying themselves every day, every aspect, and trying to improve. And yes, we all ask questions, and I think it's great to emulate the people who are doing it right and ask them questions and things like that. But there are a lot of times where you could figure out what you need based on how you're performing, and you need to diagnose what you're doing. So if you see yourself not jumping high or plateauing or anything, or having trouble with a certain aspect of jumping, for example, standing vert, and you can jump really high off your standing vert, but you can't do a running vertical. There's a lot of factors that go into that, and I just feel like a lot of those factors you can try to break down yourself, and I think that's really helpful. And on top of that, you could start trying things, and then you'll learn from the experience and be able to keep improving, and then you won't make those mistakes, or you'll improve and keep making progress. And I feel like there's too many people that are just asking questions and looking for an exact answer and just an answer to their problems, and not really accepting the fact that they need to work on all these different little things. They think that they're not doing something right, so they'll ask somebody like, hey, what's wrong with my technique? Somebody will fix it, and then the magic will happen. And I think that's just holding you back. I think if you just accept that you're bad at something, or accept that some part needs work, or even take a step back and go back to the basics, it's really beneficial. And on top of it, when you try to learn yourself and teach yourself, I feel like you learned it a lot better. So instead of somebody just correcting you, and obviously correction helps, and like people who are really good, like I said, it's good to follow what they do, but there comes a point where they can't show you everything and they can't do the workouts for you. So you really need to be analyzing your body and your technique yourself and really try to get to the bottom of what's causing it. I kind of touched on this in another podcast where the details are really important, but I just wanted to go over it more, that everything I do, everything I know has come from experience. Yes, I've asked people and they've helped me with my technique, but I feel like I've learned the best when I try something, even if it's something they taught me. I know like some people have helped me with different things, but even if they taught me something, what they are teaching me is something that they learned from trying it. So I would have probably learned it on my own if I just gave it a try in different ways and tried different things. And yes, they taught me one way, but that might be a way that works for them as well. So even if you're asking questions to people who know what they're doing, that might be something that works for them. Like, for example, if you're jumping from a certain angle or some technique on a certain dunk or a jump, that might work for them and their body, but everybody's body is so different. You need to be trying things yourself. And you need to also be trying things because, like I said, there's different things that may work for you. But if you only listen to other people or only looking for a secret answer, then you're never going to be trying things that you wouldn't normally try. So if you just keep trying different things, obviously try to get the most perfect technique, get the basics. I feel like the basics is all you need from all these different dunkers or whatever you're trying to do. If you find the basics and get a good foundation and just try to build on that, then you can analyze yourself and keep making progress that way. And just to get deeper in it is, for example, with jumping, if you know the technique, you can look up technique. A million people have shown you the footwork and things like that. And then you just try to jump. And I think this is for everybody who's trying to start jumping or start dunking. The first thing you want to do is focus on your technique. Doesn't matter your age, doesn't matter like where you're starting at. Of course, if you're jumping already and you're like already have somewhat of a good vertical and you could dunk already, then maybe start looking at the next level stuff. But everybody, even if they can already jump pretty high, if you've never jump trained, try pushing yourself jumping first, just jumping more, jumping as high as you possibly can. Try to reach something just out of your reach and focus on your footwork and analyze yourself. See how much higher your running vertical is compared to your standing vert, which one's higher, how much the disparity is. And then there's a wealth of knowledge on the internet of why these different things happen. And then a lot of them just make sense if you think about it. If you have really high standing vertical, but your running vertical's not as high, then obviously there's something going on with translating that motion into your vertical. That just makes sense. Like if you're able to jump off a standing vertical, but when you run up, your vertical gets lower or it's barely any higher, like meaning like 1 inch, because 3 to 4 inches might be fine. That might be translating all your speed. There's something in that translation of speed from your approach to your jump. And then you could break that down. Look at your every step. You can watch so many different dunkers and jumpers, every plant, which way, and your form could be that way. And yes, I can help you critique your form, but try to analyze it yourself, because even if I tell you something about maybe like your penultimate step is not long enough, which I see a lot, or you're not running fast enough, or you're not planting quick enough, all those things you can notice yourself if you just compare to somebody else. And even if you don't notice that and I'm able to point that out, you still have to go and fix that. I can't make you fix that. And yes, I could tell you what to do, but I think that's self-explanatory. For example, if you can, if you're not planting quick enough and I mentioned that, or you notice that, focus just on that plant. Just literally stand under the hoop. You don't even have to jump. Just go, take a big step and lean into it and just go boom, boom, with both your feet as quick as you can, and just try to make that quicker. And if your penultimate step is short, just really focus on one step into that penultimate and try to make it longer, and just do that over and over again till it starts to feel like you're getting a little bit more of a push off that penultimate. And I don't mean this to sound like I don't want to help you, because I'm trying to help everybody. I'm actually doing this because I feel like I can help even more people, because I'm only one person, and I know all my friends and dunkers, people who get questions. We get a lot of questions, and there's a lot of people out there, and everybody's got something different. Everybody's got some different body structure, muscles in different places. And I just feel like if you take time, and the time you take to try to reach out to people and find the right answer, if you just try to self-diagnose and look up how everything works, all the details, it'll help you a lot more in the long run. So analyze yourself. You have to look at all the details. Make sure you're doing everything. So I guess on that note, I'll tell you all the basics, which is as much as I could tell everybody, that's most universal. And then you got to go do your own homework and be your own best resource, meaning find all the answers that you need. So health is really important. You want to eat vegetables, meat, and carbs. It's as basic as it can get. On days where you're working out, eat carbs before you work out to give you some energy. Carbs are energy. Protein and veggies are more recovery. Carbs are recovery too. But look into those things. Look into exactly what carbs do. Try to calculate how much you're burning in a dunk session, how long, how many jumps, etc. And I've done all those things. I don't know the exact numbers, but I've got to a place where I know how many carbs I need to feel energized the next day or next workout, things like that, and how much food I need so I don't feel hungry. And just eat when you're hungry if you're an athlete. But the point is, eat carbs before you go work out. Then after, have a lot of protein to recover and a lot of veggies, and just stay away from everything else. Sugar, any type of sugar, even fruits, stay away from that. Stay away from all sugars and try to stay away from refined carbohydrates, which is like your breads and pastas. There's a lot more healthier alternatives because those are stripped of a lot of the nutrients because they're so processed and things like that. So just do your homework on that. See, and then also you got to try things. See how you feel after you do these things, after you eat these different meals, and see how your energy levels are. And that's exactly what I had to do. So I asked people like, what do they do? And they told me their basics. So then I had to try my own. And basically, if you can't find the details, then of course you ask, and I would love to answer all your questions, and so would everybody. But I'm sure there's a lot more answers you can get out from yourself if you just took the time to look into it. So carbs before a workout, protein and veggies. Veggies are important. I don't even know why, but like protein's obviously important to build muscle and recover, and veggies are the same thing. It keeps you has all the vitamins and nutrients that you need. So just eat a lot of different vegetables. All the greens are really good. And just stay away from sugars and stay away from unhealthy breads and pastas and things like that. And stay as lean as possible. And if you really want to achieve athletic goals, it shouldn't be a problem. I know it's tough. I have sweets here and there. I have like a little bit of like dark chocolate and things like that. But you just keep it to a very, very minimum. And it's not that hard. And nutrition is just super important. And monitor your weight, monitor your body fat, stay as lean as possible, and that's that. So also, like I said before, the foundation is probably jumping. So jump a ton, push yourself, see how your legs feel, see how your body feels, like mentally. If you jump a ton, like I jumped twice this weekend back to back, and then the next day I was pretty tired. Even like the next 2 days, I could just feel like I didn't want to even stretch. I could just feel that my whole like central nervous system was a little tired. So react to that. Take it easy, stretch, try to recover more, and just push your limits, but also don't push them a super amount. Like running is a good example for me to make it easy to understand. If you're trying to run 5 miles next year, like just compare that to jump 5 inches higher, trying to run 5 miles. If you run a mile today and that's the furthest you can go, the next time you work out, you're not going to run 4 miles, you might run a mile and a half, or like even less than that, a mile and a tenth of a mile. So just gradually push yourself. I mean, you might have been able to run that 4 miles the second time you worked out, but you might have overtrained your body, and then you push yourself a little too hard and just broke things down that were into an unhealthy range and things like that. So gradually push yourself. Monitor yourself at all times. Monitor your energy level, how your muscles feel, how your muscle soreness goes, and what you did in the workout. Me and Isaiah actually were just talking the other day. We might start counting how many jumps we have in a session so we could see if we could potentially gradually increase our sessions, more and more jumps. So that way more sessions have more amount of jumps, and see how much our body can take. So that way we know exactly when to stop or when to do things like that. And that's just something that we thought of. We didn't read that anywhere, but it just makes sense if you just think about it. If you're trying to jump more in a session, you don't want to just jump, and then the next time you're like, man, I jumped a lot, but I still feel pretty good. A couple days later, I can jump again, but you have no idea how many times you jumped. It would be helpful. It's just more data to help you understand how much you can push yourself and how many jumps you can handle and how your body feels and reacts to those different stresses. So jumping, focus on your technique. You want your full approach to be about 3-4 steps. You don't really need that much more than that off 2 feet. You want that penultimate, which is the step into your plant. You want that to be really long. You can watch every dunker. They all do it. So for me, my penultimate step is my right foot going forwards into my plant. So then I plant my right foot, and then my left foot comes right after it. You want to stay upright. You want those last 2 feet to step really almost simultaneous, like pop up, like really, really quick. Make sure that's really quick. Your penultimate step is long, and you're jumping up, and your body is staying upright. And you don't even need to load down that much. You just plant. You don't need to bend super low. You just want to come off the ground as quick as possible. And I think these are all general tips for standing vert and running vert. I think there should be a disparity because you're using some of your speed and moving that into an upward motion. But I think optimal, it'll be maybe a 4 or 5 inch difference. I may be wrong on that, but mine's a little bit more of a disparity because my standing vert's really terrible, and I got way better off the off a toss and off a run. But that's just another general tip. But everybody's body's a lot different. And just try things. See what your vertical's at. And now the last, besides just jump technique and footwork, I think there's strength and speed. And both of those things apply to jumping. And there's a few ways to try to diagnose things. I think the easiest one for speed is just see how light you are on your feet. Speed, I mean like speed and quickness. So you can do an all-out sprint, but you should see how your acceleration is. If you're sprinting and like the first few steps feel slow, and then you get to a top speed, you might have good strength, but you might not be the quickest. And another way for quickness to test it is do some box jumps. I mean, like depth jumps where you jump off a box and you jump, and then as soon as you hit the floor, you react. It's more like reactive. So if you hit the ground hard and you hear like a loud sound, you're probably not that light on your feet, which means you probably don't have that quickness, which means try to focus on that quickness, do some plyometrics, do a lot of explosive stuff, maybe some light lifting, and just do a lot of reactive training where you, for example, like box jumps where you, as soon as you jump on the box, depth jumps, sorry, I keep getting those confused. You step off the box, the second you hit the ground, try to jump up, and you should be really light on your feet. If you see all the elite jumpers, they're really light on their feet when they walk or when they jump or make cuts and things like that. They're very, very quick. And quickness is just explosiveness. And if you feel very heavy on your feet, you may want to work on some quickness. And then that's where you be your own resource. You come in, you go see how to be quick and how to get better reactive training for your feet and your body and your jumping. And then the other side of it is you may be quick, you may be able to do agile exercises super easy, but you can't jump that high or your standing vert's not that high, so maybe you need strength. And then strength is pretty easy to tell. Just put some weight on. I think everybody should be able to squat, I think at least like 1.5 times their body weight. And if not, try to get to 2. And you could always get stronger. And then then once you get both of those things, you get strength, and you want to do deadlifts and squats. You want to do the posterior chain is really important, but just strength in general. And then you could look up yourself what's great strength exercises for jumping. And then, yes, you could ask somebody or find somebody who's explained the good strength exercises for jump training, or you could look into the mechanics of jump training yourself, see what literally the forces are that go through your legs, and then strengthen those muscles accordingly. And then that's pretty much it. There's a lot of information out there that you can find yourself, and just a lot of people have already posted stuff. So instead of just asking what I could do to get stronger, go look and research what jumpers have done. A lot of people have posted their workouts. You see the commonalities. Don't just follow one person. See what everybody's doing in common, because usually there's some similarities between them, and then they have their own variances depending on what they need for their body. So yeah, strength and explosiveness. And then when you're there, then it's just a balance. And that's kind of where I'm at now. And that's where the most analysis comes into play, because you can get stronger, you can get faster, and you make these gains. But then when you're at this level where you're really strong and you feel really quick, but you want to keep making gains, you got to kind of get to know your body as well as possible. So say I'm fully healthy, some weeks I'll have like a heavy day where I lift and I jump, then I lift, then I rest. So I lift heavy, then I'll rest, stretch, and then the next day I'll dunk really lightly, like just warm up so my legs are warm and have a light lift day. And then I'll go to rest again and then have a full jump day. And then on that full jump day, I'll see how I feel. And if I feel like I'm jumping really high, but I can't really run up, I'm kind of having like good drop step success or really slow approach success, like my warm up was good, but then my full jumps were like a little off. Like every time I tried to run up, my form would break down. It might mean that my strength is there, but my technique and my footwork and my agility is not. So maybe the following week I'll work more on that. And then vice versa. Some weeks I might feel super quick and loose and I'm jumping quick, but I just don't have that height on my jumps. I feel like I can jump higher and my vert is down. I just do all different types of jumps to try to examine what's up with my body and how I'm reacting to the workouts I've done, and just keep everything healthy. And even every day is an analysis. I'm always constantly thinking how I'm feeling, and that's another reason why I eat so healthy and make sure I try to sleep well, because you don't want those to be factors. You don't want to have like a bad jumping day just because you ate like a pig the day before and you're just a little sluggish. those factors are very controllable and very easy to fix and very easy to control. I think I said that already, but you get the point. If my health is on point and my sleep is on point and my energy levels are high and there's no pains and I feel loose, but then like my technique feels off or my strength feels off, I can see those a lot easier when there's not a lot of other factors involved like health or sleeping or things like that. So make sure your body's your priority. You really need to keep your body healthy to be able to keep pushing it. And you want to keep pushing it because you're trying to make gains and you're trying to become better. And it's just, there's so many things out there that cause that you need to make sure that every factor that you can keep at 100, you keep at 100. And then the rest fall into place. And just keep an eye on how you're feeling and keep an eye on your technique. And if for some reason you could do one thing and not the other, for example, for me, for my dribble dunks compared to my lobs, it's pretty obvious that there's something with my technique because I can jump a lot higher with the lob and I know I can't use my arm swing with my lob, so I try to get comfortable using the ball with more of an arm swing. And then when I would sometimes get it, I would feel like I'm jumping sideways. I'm like, why am I jumping more sideways? And then I'd watch a video and I look like I'm jumping forward. So I would try to jump up, but then I wouldn't get as high. And I would notice that like my jumps off the dribble were a lot slower to take off. And I realized I'm trying to like jump harder because I have the ball in my hand. When off the lob, I don't even think about it. I just pop up quick. So there's just so many factors. And I kept trying to fix each one until I got them all fixed, and now I'm jumping pretty good off the dribble, and just I still struggle with it. Some days I still have that form breakdown, but then I go back to the lab and I work on the details of my form. So that's just one example for me, but there's a lot of different factors when it comes to that. And this is just applied to anything you do. You need to be able to find the answers yourself and try things. If you're having knee problems, find exactly what's causing that knee pain. For example, for me, if when my knee started feeling weird, I really tried to zone in and figure out what caused the knee pain to not come, but when do I feel it? So for example, for me, it wasn't when I like stood up on one leg, it was when I sat down. So it was the downward motion. So what I did was just try to strengthen the upward motion. So that way, maybe I was hitting the downward motion muscles secondarily, if that makes any sense. So I could strengthen the other parts of my leg that didn't hurt, meaning like I even though I couldn't go downwards motion, I could strengthen all the other muscles around it basically and see if that helped. And it definitely helped. It helped like use the muscles. So I wasn't using them directly, but I think I was using them indirectly, and it definitely helped. And then slowly, when it didn't hurt or feel weird, I would do the downward motion as well, where I would like hold weights and sit down onto a chair or a bench or something like that. But the point is, anything I feel, I just try to figure out exactly the root cause of it and then go do research or think about it. And the more you think about it, the more the answers will show themselves. Because if you're not thinking about it and you're just trying to do something else, like for example, if your knee started bothering you, but you're really trying to build your strength, you're not going to be able to do either. You're not going to be able to build your strength because your knee is going to be, you're going to be hesitating off your knee, or it's not going to be able to get strong because you don't realize you're compensating on different legs. So just zone in on the thing you want to fix. If it's your plants, if it's your strength, if it's your explosiveness, and figure out exactly what you're doing wrong or what feels weak. Just if your explosiveness feels weak and you feel super unreactive, like you land off a box jump and you just can't get off the ground quick enough, push yourself quick enough. Push yourself. Get on that box and try over and over again to push yourself just a little bit faster, and then take notes, take data, record yourself, do everything you can, and you will make progress. And all these people that you see making progress, they're not just doing the same thing over and over again. They're constantly changing it up, and they're constantly figuring out what they can do to progress in all aspects in every way. And it goes with every aspect, not just jumping, but for me, if you just need another analogy for those who aren't the dunkers, which even though it's probably like 102% of my crowd, for like videography that I love to do, there's so much about it that I don't know, and I'm trying to learn, and I'm constantly watching videos of other people, how they do it. But another thing I do is just try and recreate things that I see, and then I try to figure out why it doesn't look like that. For example, why do I Why does it not look as smooth? Why does it not look at this color? Different things like that. Why is my lighting different even though it looks like we're in the same type of setting, like sunlight, things like that. And I just learn a lot about the technology behind it. And just, yes, I ask questions and things like that, but there's a lot of things I can try to do myself. And the other thing about asking questions is it's perfectly fine to ask questions, and you need to. Sometimes you need guidance from the people who have done it before. But make sure you're not just asking questions to get a secret answer or find a magic answer or find the magic cure to what you're doing. Make sure you're researching, and then you're stuck on one thing, and then see what they did for that exact specific problem. It's not that helpful if you just say, hey, I can't jump high, what can I do? There's a million things you can do, and there's a million different cases and variances between people. So see what you need to do. Go test out what you do. I guess what I'm trying to say is go try it for yourself, and then there will be more specific questions that you have that will be more insightful than just asking a general question, because the general questions will not get you the results you want. They're just going to help you towards the goals, but you're not going to actually have the tangible results. You're just going to have like the direction to go. But if you have the right questions, they might have the actual results which help you. I think that's it. That's pretty much it. I hope this is helpful. I love all your questions. I love helping everybody I can. That's literally why I do everything I do. But I feel like there's too many people that are just waiting for an answer and not going after it themselves. And I don't want to see that, because sometimes I don't even get to them right away because I don't see their questions, things like that. And then I have to try to write everything. I'm writing the same thing over and over again. And then I don't know if it's helpful because I don't even know where they're at. So I just say, get stronger, get faster, stay lean, stay healthy. And those are all the general things, but I don't know if they know where to go with it. So you got to get started, and you got to kind of find a base for yourself and see where you're at. There's no way that there's any program or things. And programs are great and things like that, but you still have to do the program. If you just see the program, be like, oh, I'm going to have 10 inches of vertical after I do this program for a year, whatever it is. Like, it's not just a formula. You have to do it and then react to it. And then you also have to do it correctly. So you can't just get a formula and it'll add inches to your vert. You have to do the formula. Did I say formula or plan? I forget already. But you have to do it. So go out and do your stuff, and then try to find the answers on your own, because by trying to find them on your own, you'll learn something about your body or your mindset or your technique, whatever it is. You'll learn a lot more by trying to figure it out yourself than just waiting on an answer. And on top of it, you're not wasting any time just waiting for somebody to get back to you. I hope that's helpful. I'm working on a bunch of videos right now. Dunking tomorrow. Hopefully it goes well. Also, be patient. There's so many times where it just takes a long time. Like, you have to go backwards a little bit, work on your body, build the foundation, and it just takes time. So that's pretty much it. I'll talk to you guys soon. I hope this is really helpful. I don't mean to sound anything but helpful. And I will continue to answer all your questions, any questions you have, and I just will keep making videos as well. I have a windmill tutorial that's coming out soon. Hopefully, I don't want to give it a timeline, but hopefully soon, and I'm getting it started, and I know that's helpful, and I look forward to keep helping you and answering your questions, but go do some of your stuff yourself. Start researching your body. Be a jump nerd, and learn about all the different mechanics in every little which way, and then look at all the people who are successful, emulate what they're doing. You don't need to ask them what they're doing. A lot of them are showing you. So just do a lot of research and find as many resources as you can, because if you do that, then you'll have a lot of things that you can try yourself. And then once you have all those things you can try, then you have a lot more data to work with on yourself. And then you could analyze all that stuff and figure out what you need and what you can do moving forward. And that is it. Thank you for listening. Thank you for all your feedback. Keep dunking, keep achieving your goals, and keep going on everything you want to do. Be a nerd about things you want to achieve, because there's so much information. It's so easy to find. So we're spoiled with that. So keep it going, and anything you want to do, you can go figure out, and then you don't have to wait on anybody, And there's no excuses. There's no like, I don't know what he's doing. I don't know how he does it. Go figure it out, because then you'll learn the most. And then that way you'll make more progress because you have so much more experience. And that's what makes all these dunkers keep progressing, is the experience. And the experience is huge, but the experience can only be shared to a certain extent because their experience is going to be different than yours, and it's going to help them in different ways. So by doing things, you gain the experience, and then you get so much more information than if you just get your question answered. So the experience really teaches you about yourself, teaches you about your body. You learn about what you need, what you can do. And I've said this a million times in circles in this one podcast, but the experience is important, and you can only get experience from doing it yourself. And that is the end. I'll frickin' see ya.